What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having an awesome day today. So, in yesterday's video, we were talking about the CPI data, and the report was actually relatively neutral, right? It was exactly what the markets had been expecting, but nevertheless, we went on a massive tear. Now, we had been watching the Bitcoin chart for a very long time, and we were saying that as soon as we broke out, we were going to have a big move, right? Because the volatility was so low, the Bollinger Bands were getting so small, and we had that death cross on the DXY, so we knew that that meant something positive for Bitcoin, but I was not expecting as big of a move as fast as we just got it. So are we getting overheated, or is there just more room for this crazy pump? I do want to talk about that. So let's hop in. Let's have a look at the charts, but make sure that you stick around to the end of the video because there is something that is happening right now that doesn't have a lot to do with Bitcoin, but it could be concerning. So we'll tackle that at the end of the video. But right now, let's hop into the charts. So first and foremost, just wow, what a crazy move that we actually had for Bitcoin. Now we knew as soon as we broke out of this flag right here, we knew that we were at least minimally headed to this zone, but look at how we just absolutely blasted through that. And remember, when I was talking about these bear flags that had formed, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, and we were forming our fifth one. Remember we said, what are the actual odds that, this really happens a fifth time? And you could just see right here, what a weekly candle. I mean, this has got to be the biggest weekly candle pretty much that we've seen since back here in the week of March of 2022. Now, if we come over here, we were talking about this long-term trend line and how we've had multiple support, right? We had support right here, multiple times right here, even during COVID. Let me actually get rid of this volume. I don't really need this right now. You can see right here, even in COVID, we did dip below it, right? But we ended up closing the week above it. And if we zoom in right now, look at exactly what we're doing, guys. We are riding on that level. And we knew that if we pumped through this heart line, remember we had multiple fake outs, fake out here, we had a fake out here, but this one looks like it's actually going to hold. I mean, I would be quite surprised if this candle reversed by the end of the week. You could see right here, this could give us a potential target to the top of this downward sloping trend. If we pumped straight up today, that could take Bitcoin to $23,000. Now, do I think that we're going to actually go that high that fast? I don't think we will. It is a possibility. But you can see right here, we were hitting this downward sloping trend, and I had actually mentioned this in the Telegram group, and you could see right here, we had two different resistances, right? We had this support flipped resistance here, and we also had this downward sloping resistance as well, and so far, Bitcoin is actually attempting to break through both of them. Now, of course, this is the daily candle and anything could change by the end of the day, but thus far, this has been quite a nice move for Bitcoin. And you can even say, potentially, that this was a bit of a double bottom, right? Which is a very bullish scenario in most charts. So ultimately, guys, remember, if you do want to learn how to trade, we basically called this, I've had so many people coming out and saying thank you, for pointing out to the analysis. So if you guys do want to learn how to trade, make sure that you click the tutorial popping up right here. Right now, there's $56,210 in bonuses below. But here's the issue. Here is the issue, guys. So there is a possibility, of course, that this could have been the bottom, right? If we actually come over here, this is the Coinbase chart, and looking at some of these big volume spikes, right? Just for example, you can see that generally speaking, when we have this big volume here, that was the top, and it doesn't matter if it's green or red. I'm just talking about a lot of volume, right? We had a lot of volume right here, that represented the bottom. We had a lot of volume right here, that was the top of this, sort of mid-cycle move. We had volume right here, that was the bottom of COVID. Okay, now this one is what I want to talk about. We're going to come back to that in just a second. But you can see we also had volume right here. That was basically the bottom, even though it kind of chopped sideways for a bit. This was a fake out right here. That was the Terra Luna crash. We had this right here, which was the Celsius crash. And then we also had this right here, which was the FTX crash. But if you look at this, this was the most amount of volume out of all of them, right? This one right here. So is that a possibility that this could be the bottom? That's a possibility, right? But remember this cluster that I just talked about a few seconds ago? This is what I'm looking at right here. And if you're noticing where we're actually having, let me actually get rid of the volume now, just get it out of the way. If you actually look at where Bitcoin is kind of stalling out right now, what you'll notice is that if we go sideways, this corresponds with where we had this consolidation right here. In fact, it doesn't really look like much on the chart right here, if you just look at this weekly, but if you actually go from the top of this candle to the bottom right here, that was about a 17% drop, right? That was a pretty big drop on the weekly. And there was consolidation at this level. sort of that psychological $20,000 level, if you will. But if you also come over to here, look at how much we danced around that level, right? Every time we came down, look at this, got bought back up, bought back up, bought back up, right? We had that bounce, we came back down, we consolidated here for multiple times. We tried to break above it, we came down again, and then you can see right here, it kind of acted as resistance. We didn't even get up to the level yet. So this is where we're approaching right now. We're entering this blue zone. And if you kind of just take this, and we look at this level right here, that puts us at around $19,800. So there is a possibility that Bitcoin could still actually rally up to that level. But just understand that we do have this massive downward sloping trend that is going to be holding us down, right? And another thing that is a little bit concerning, I know this isn't Bitcoin, but this is the S&P. Now, the S&P has been in this descending broadening wedge. Now, I just want to point out that descending broadening wedges are actually technically bullish patterns. So when you do finally have the breakout, you do have a pretty large breakout. So there is a possibility that if the S&P breaks out, then Bitcoin could go on a massive, massive run. But there also is that fear that if the S&P does start to break down from this level, unfortunately, because a lot of markets are correlated, this could be negative for Bitcoin. But getting back to Bitcoin specifically, what I would like to see is kind of something like we saw back here in 2015, right here in the 2015 bear market. And, you can see right here, we did have this crazy, you see we were just going down and down and down and down, right? And then we had this massive, massive dump all the way down here. And then look at this pop from bottom to top. Look at this. Bitcoin pumped 85%, right? From about $165 all the way up to $307. And then what did it end up doing? So we had the low, right? The low was in right here, but ultimately we kind of came back up, came back down, chopped sideways, right? Faked back to the upside, came back down. And ultimately what we were doing was we were chopping around in a bit of a range, right? So that's kind of like what I would expect for Bitcoin, something like that, where we just sort of chop between a range like this. And, this lasted from 2015 all the way to, well, it started in January of 2015, and we didn't officially break out of it until October of 2015. So kind of similar like what we're doing now, right? Having that January pump to the top. This actually happened on January 26th, but you could see right here, we did end up coming back down and consolidating sideways. So personally, for me, I think that would be, the more healthy move for Bitcoin. But you can also see right here that there still is that possibility that we could at some point tackle this downward sloping trend. So we are going to keep our eyes on that. And obviously the longer it takes to get to that level, the lower the number is. If we just went sideways, then yeah, we could literally just stay at around 18,000, 19,000, and we would eventually come to the end of that. But it is interesting to see how we have been supported. So for the most part, guys, yeah, this move was to be expected. Do be careful because there still is a lot going on, with the economy. But nevertheless, guys, this was an awesome freaking move. Congratulations if you took that trade. So like I said, we were anticipating this move, and there is a possibility that the bottom could be in. But what we don't want to do is start just pumping crazy fast, go crazy high, because usually when you have that big of a pump, you have an even bigger dump back downwards. And what could end up happening is the bear market could end up being longer than it initially would have been, right? But hey, guys, I love watching my bags pump just as much as the next person. But the one thing that does kind of concern me, and this has nothing to do with crypto, I just wanted to tag this on at the end of the video. There was this report that came out that I saw, and they were saying that about 1 in 3 Americans are actually in credit card debt to the point where they're having difficulty paying it off, right? Like as in they can't pay their bills. So it does make me wonder if we're seeing this pump right now, is it being done by the institutions, by the whales? Is retail buying? Because right now you're seeing inflation still very, very high. And yes, even though it's down, it's sitting at 6.5% CPI, understand that 6.5% still means it's going up, right? And it's the highest levels that we've seen in 40 years, even with yesterday's reading. So that's just something to kind of consider, guys. There may be a little bit more potential pain economically, coming with the Fed holding the rates steady. So just be kind of cautious about that. As you guys know, I am a long-term Bitcoin bull. I hold Bitcoin for life. I have a hodl position. I will absolutely, most likely, pretty much never, ever sell. But that being said, just be cautious with this pump. It's been awesome. Everyone that got in, I've had so many people reaching out to me and thanking me about, these levels that we got in at. So this is why you guys got to get subscribed. Make sure you turn on the bell notifications. I love you guys. You're awesome. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out. And make sure that you watch this video popping up right here, right now. You guys rock. I'll see you tomorrow.